But first, Kellyanne Conway live in Trump Tower. Kellyanne, you're a professional pollster, so let's start there with the numbers, which quite frankly don't look very good for Donald Trump at this point. Let me put some of them up on the screen. In a four-way race, he now trails Clinton by more than 5 points. Among women, he trails by 15 points, and that's important because women are voting early in big numbers in Florida and North Carolina. Kellyanne, how do you turn this around in 2 weeks?
Thanks for having me, Chris. So by taking the case directly to the voters, and that's where he is. He was in 3 states yesterday. He'll be in Florida for a few days. And we look at some of the early voting returns in places like Iowa and Ohio, and we're doing much better than previous candidates, in large part because we invested in the absentee ballot early voting procedures. And also, I think he does it in the way that he gave the speech in Gettysburg yesterday, puts out that 9 or 10 point plan, has some really significant measures with teeth to have lifetime bans on lobbying foreign nations if you've worked in his White House, term limits for members of Congress, his whole Drain the Swamp ethical package.
Didn't he step on his serious agenda for the first 100 days by beginning the speech saying that he's going to sue all the women who've accused him?
No, he's just trying to defend himself against false accusers, as he says. He says those incidents never happened, yet they're covered in the media every single day. He can't get fair coverage, maybe not here, Chris, but he can't get fair coverage of his substantive points in many corners, and yet they imbue credibility to others automatically. We like the fact that in 3 major national polls, he's leading Hillary Clinton now by a few points. And we like the fact that in the 8 swing states where President Obama beat Governor Romney in 2012, we are either ahead within the margin of error or within striking distance. So we'll be visiting all of those states.
Let me just pick up on that, and because I want to look at the electoral map, which doesn't look good at this point. Here are the swing states that your campaign has long identified as must-wins. Ohio, basically tied. North Carolina, Clinton up 3. Florida, Clinton up 4. And then there are the flip states. The blue state of Pennsylvania, which you were hoping to flip to Trump, Clinton is up 6. And the traditionally red state of Arizona, Clinton now up 1.5. Question, where is the realistic path to 270 electoral votes?
She's still under 50 everywhere, and she spent $66 million in ads, mostly negative politics of personal destruction ads against Donald Trump just in September, Chris. So with all that on the field, we're just starting to increase some of our investments on the air, and you'll see Mr. Trump there. So the fact that it's been 3 points, 4 points, 6 points is what can turn around in these next 2 weeks. Our path is Florida, Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina. You add Nevada there, you protect Arizona and Georgia. You look at New Hampshire and Maine, too, where the congressional districts there are split in the way they award their electoral votes. And then we're also going to continue to visit Colorado, Virginia, Pennsylvania. So there are several different. A poll came out just yesterday showing us 6 down in Michigan. We haven't even been there. We're not up in the air there. And so the fact is that this race is not over. Many in the media want to say it's over. For the 12th time, they're counting Donald Trump out. And I'm telling you that in some of these polls, if you're only using listed sample and you're identifying people who voted Republican in 2012 or voted Democrat in 2012, and you're not really bringing in people who haven't voted in a long time, the lapsed voters or the first-time voters who are truly enthusiastic about Donald Trump as an outsider trying to really shake up the system. And there are many people like that, and we're not giving up. We know we can win this, and we are certainly not acceding to the same chattering class that's been wrong about Donald Trump for about 1.5 years.
There are suggestions that you have grown uncomfortable with Donald Trump and his campaign. From our personal experience, you were pulled twice from this show around the time that there were all these allegations about women saying that he had groped them. And you've also been active on social media. I want to put this up. You retweeted this comment from reporter Robert Costa, the Washington Post, at the debate. Bad hombres, Trump being Trump. Trump's other answers, Conway-esque. Why would you want to retweet that?
I retweeted it because I was so excited that Donald Trump, for the first time in the 20-some years I've been working on pro-life messaging, actually in front of tens of millions of people worldwide, gave the most impassioned defense of life that I've ever heard from a Republican presidential candidate. It was amazing to hear him say.
What Costa was saying was the bad stuff was Trump and the good stuff was you.
No, that's not true. What he was saying, he made one comment, and it was early in the debate, Chris, if you remember. And so the Conway-esque stuff was this pro-life messaging I've been working on for decades and can never get, frankly, people who say they're much more pro-life than Donald Trump. Donald Trump used to be pro-choice, like many Americans, changed his views based on personal experience as he's explained it. And there he was on the stage with you doing two things that nobody had ever done. And it is Conway-esque. One is saying, I'm pro-life, I will appoint pro-life judges, and then taking the case right to Hillary Clinton that her and her party are for abortion anyone, anytime, anywhere. They are incredibly extreme: sex selection abortion, fetal pain abortion, taxpayer-funded abortion, and of course, late-term abortion. Donald Trump said on live TV in front of you that Hillary Clinton would rip the baby from the womb, that it's okay to have a late-term abortion, and she had a terrible defense to that somehow it's because of the life of the mother. And people say, well, there aren't that many. There are 12,000 a year, and Americans ought to know that that's part of being pro-choice. So I was very excited because let me tell you something. A lot of Republicans just hide under the desk hoping the abortion shrapnel won't hit them, and there was none other than a Manhattan billionaire giving an impassioned defense of pro-life. It's as simple as that. I think people read a little bit too much into it, and frankly, a lot of people lack my sense of humor on some of these other tweets. But Donald Trump and I both have a great sense of humor and a wonderful relationship. And I've never been pulled from a Sunday show. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, just real quickly, because the fact was that we were told as recently as like a Saturday night that you were going to be doing our show at the height of the whole scandal, and then suddenly Rudy Giuliani showed up the next morning, and you don't look like Rudy Giuliani.
I love the mayor. It doesn't mean I was pulled. But in any event, if you see me sitting here as a campaign manager, then that's where my heart and my head are. And you know, a lot of things go into being this campaign manager. A lot of people here relying upon me as their leader. A lot of our state directors, our ground game, our field operation. I work very closely with Chairman Priebus and his team at the RNC.
Right.
And we just, you know, Donald Trump and I have a great relationship. I think he's unfairly maligned by many people who should really look at the full measure of the man. He has employed thousands of women at the Trump Corporation. He is the first Republican to elevate a woman as a campaign manager presidentially. That says an awful lot about him.
Kellyanne, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.